Hello, my name is Stephen Jones, and I wanted to share with you a bit about valuing yourself today, and really knowing that you're more than a body with all this happening in the world, the COVID, and the economic effects, and being cooped up and wearing masks can be quite uncomfortable. But how do we continue to function in that and keep our spirits up and really know that we're here for a purpose? There are a number of things in my life that I've experienced that I can look back at to really know that there is more than just my body, and that I'm more than my body. Some things that I can't explain, some things that I experienced that really the only explanation is that there is something else. And I know a lot of you probably had some near-death experiences. I had one when I was about 18, and I had a car crash, and I ended up rolling the car. I was trying to drive for about 48 hours without sleep. I worked for about 24, and then I drove for about 24. And people encouraged me to, get some sleep, but I didn't listen. And partway through the trip back, the trip that was about 12 hours, I fell asleep at the wheel, and I was on a main highway, so I was probably going about 75. And what I remembered was, and I had my eyes closed, just feeling the rumbling of going across a field. And then the car started to flip, and it would hit the ground and then fly in the air, and then it would hit the ground again and then fly in the air. And it did that a few times. One of those times, as it came down, my head hit the earth and smashed against the earth, and my head, everything just went to like a pixelation, like the gray fuzz that you see on the TV screen when you're between channels, and everything stopped. It was like the entire scene stopped, and I was just held in kind of a suspended animation. And I was asked by what I understand or see as a grandmother or the grandmother's whatever guardian spirits, or that you want to consider that to be. I was asked, do you want to die? I was given a choice. I could die or I could not. And there was no coaxing one way or another. It was just basically just a simple question. Do you want to die? And inside myself, I screamed no. I just screamed no. And I don't think I was screaming out loud. I don't think I was screaming physically, but inside myself, because it wasn't so much a verbal question. It was just something that I heard within myself, and I screamed back no. And I mean, my head was crushed by hitting the ground, and the car came down, and everything just went white. And I just screamed no, and the scene changed instantly. It was like everything just changed. I was put back together, is how I can just describe it. Put back together. And how bad the car crash was it actually, the car rolled and then hit the side of a bridge, the hill to a bridge, flew up over a 6-foot fence, and then landed on the roof. And I had battery acid all in my hair. Now, how the battery gets into the passenger compartment, it was a pretty bad accident. Every part of that car was crushed completely. And after I had made that decision and everything changed, I was upside down. I had to crawl out about 8 inches of the window, or 8, 12. I had to squeeze through anyway the window, because we were upside down. And I got out, and I had some stuff in the trunk. I went around, gathered the things up that I was carrying, put them beside the road, so I could pick them up later. So, I mean, and I ended up walking away without, I had a concussion. I had, not severe, but I had some few little minor cuts, didn't have one broken bone. The police told my friend that they were sending helicopters out to look for my body in the woods. And he said, "Oh no, he just called me from the hotel." I said, "There's no way someone could have survived that crash." But, oh yeah, he just called me and told me he got in a car accident. So I went to a farmhouse and, asked for help, went to a hotel that night, went back and saw the car, and I wish I would have taken some pictures, but it was one of the worst. It was like a tin can that had been crushed. So that obviously shows obviously I need to be here for something. And there is something other than us, other than the body, that we can look to, and to know that we're here for a greater purpose, that no matter how different or strange or whatever uniquenesses you have, that's your individual fingerprint that no other being, no other person can replicate. That is the gift of why you are here, and it's a specific gift that you were brought in, that you chose to deliver. And although you can't maybe see it, maybe you are hard on yourself, and you think you're always screwing up, and you're not this, you're not that, you're not so good. You have to realize that there is an intelligence greater than you can think, if that's the way you're thinking at the time, that brought you here. That intelligence is you, but you may not be completely aware of that greater choice at the time when you're really down like that. But just know that there is, you are super unique, and you're completely wanted and needed and validated by every breath that you take. You wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be taking another breath if it wasn't needed and wasn't part of a plan. And we're like a cell on a body of God. A couple other things that were that I experienced was one with a plant. And I had learned, that nature communicates, that nature speaks, and that plants, a lot of people consider eating a plant more humane than an animal, but plants scream too. So what happened is I'm sitting at a table, and just kind of, instead of drifting off, just thinking about other things. And I don't know what space I was in, but it was a space where I was sensitive to things. And I was just sitting there, not doing anything, and there was a plant on the table, and I pulled off a leaf, and I heard it scream. And it was a loud scream that I heard, and just underlines that plants feel too. And so that was very very revealing to me, I guess you could say. Just realizing that plants that have that kind of feeling. In the way of things that in relating to, say, supernatural forces, and that I was attending a native dance, and the ceremony was almost over, and it was at the edge of the field, probably 300 yards away. There was a giant storm, and I mean, when I say a storm, it was like a storm, but it was like contained behind a wall at the edge of this clearing. It was just rolling clouds, and where we were, only like 300 yards away, was calm. It wasn't raining, and there was just the boiling clouds that had come for the end of the ceremony, and it just sat there for minutes, for like 10-15 minutes. It had come across the valley and then just stopped at that point. It was just rolling, and the ceremony wasn't done yet. And when the dance was over, one of the elders just said, "Go for it," and pointed toward the cloud. And as their finger came down, a bolt of lightning came down and hit at the same time. And all of a sudden, immediately, that the wind and the rain and that storm that had been sitting there just came, and we were drenched. It just covered us. And what's interesting is in the explanation, because there's an explanation that it's not so much having power over the elements, it's being so trusted by the elements that there are your relations, that they are your friends. And why wouldn't, if you ask a friend to do something for you, well, you do it. If they're your friend, you had a favor, said, "Hey, could you do this for me?" You do it. And it's the same way with working with the elements, that to live in such a way of such a high integrity that the elements actually listen to you. And so when someone with that level of accomplishment could say, just say to the storm, like, "Hold on at the edge of the, until we're done the dance here. Hold on, just 10-15 minutes more," and it would just stand there and roll and boil, and then could just say, no special thing, but just say, "Hey, like, go for it," and bang, and lightning came down with their finger, and the storm was there. Very, very interesting. Let's see. One other thing that I experienced is I was driving with a friend on two bikes, and we were exiting onto we're going to go onto the sidewalk, and we're exiting a library that had a steep driveway, and it went right down into a really busy street. Well, as we went down the hill and we're going to turn onto the driveway, my friend's brakes went out, and there was a bus. It was right at the bottom of the hill, so there was a bus coming down this way, and they went right out in front of it, and it was just speeding down at the bottom of the hill. And I saw them. They went right out in front of the bus, and I just shut my eyes, and then I opened them, and they were riding down the street. They were okay. And I'm not sure. I was thankful for whatever happened, but that really shows that there's some other forces and other things that are working with us. So there's a lot more that you're involved with that you may not even be aware of, that your presence and you being a window into the world lets Creator work through. So you may not know it, but your being present in a certain situation may determine the outcome, whether it goes good, where it might not otherwise have gone so good. You may be saving lives. You may be, things may not be happening. You say, maybe nothing's happening. Well, maybe the reason nothing happening is because you're there and you're that window to Creator to work through. So saying value yourself and know that you are that special tool that God is working through, and never give up. And you have a great day. Hope you enjoyed that.